It is my pleasure to introduce the California Secretary of Transportation, Tox Omishakin. Tox Omishakin was appointed California's fourth Secretary of Transportation in 2022, giving him oversight of 8 state departments, commissions, and boards. Safety, equity, climate action, and economic prosperity are the core top transportation priorities established for the state. Prior to his appointment as Secretary, Omishakin was Director of the California Department of Transportation, where he and the Caltrans executive team established a new strategic direction for the department, prioritizing partnerships, community, and engagement to accomplish its goals to create a cleaner, safer, more equitable, connected transportation system in California. Omishakin served as the Deputy Commissioner with the Tennessee Department of Transportation and is actually the past chair of AASHTO. Please give a warm welcome to the Secretary, Omishakin.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Nat. So, what have I shared with you this morning that we only have 144 months. 144 months to save 15,000 children. What have I also shared with you that we still only have those same 144 months to save 500,000 people. 500,000 people. Would you have any increased sense of urgency about this work? Would you? I hope so. I want you to put those numbers down real quick. Everybody, go through this quick exercise with me. Take out your phone. Send yourself a text message or a pen and paper, write those numbers down. First number, 144. Second number, 15,000. Third number, 500,000. 500,000. Let me explain these numbers again just briefly, and I'll get to my remarks. 144 months, that's roughly 12 years. That would put us at the halfway point of getting to our goal of, in 25 years, being at Vision Zero. That's our goal, right? Vision Zero, 25 years. 2050. We're in 2025 now. 144 months. The second number, 15,000, we lose roughly 1,200 kids, 14 and under, every year in traffic crashes. 1,200 kids, rather. 1,200 kids every year. And the last number, we know that number all too well. 42,000 people across the whole country. 42,000 across the country. You multiply that number by 12 years, 500,000 people. 500,000 people. We got a lot of work to do. How many people believe we can get there? Yeah, okay, that's good to see. There are people getting it done. There are cities and communities getting it done. I'm going to share with you some of those people, some of those communities that are having a lot of success in getting there. So good morning. Again, my name is Tox Omishakin. I am California's Transportation Secretary. Honored to join you here this morning in the important work that you're doing. Thankful for Governor Newsom's, my boss, his remarks this morning, brief and to the point, and welcoming you to the state. And I'm also thankful for our team that you've heard from already. People like Stephanie Doherty, recently appointed Director of OTS, our California Highway Patrol Commissioner, Sean Dury, is also a great leader on the safety front for our state. Tammy McGowan is here from CalSTA. Even my son, Jeremiah Omishakin, has joined this morning. And I'm also thankful to all the departments that work on safety at the state level in California. The Highway Patrol team that the commissioner recognized already, Caltrans, OTS, all the teams that are leading safety at the state level for California. So, it was mentioned already. We've been making a shift in California from transportation being solely focused on infrastructure to being focused on people. That's what transportation ultimately is about. We are in the people business. And when I talk about this all the time in our state, people say, well, what does that mean? What does it mean you're in the people business? How do you accomplish that? We set 4 priorities that we call our core 4. Our core 4 priorities: safety, equity, climate action, and economic prosperity. If we accomplish these 4 things, we will make transportation what it's supposed to be, about people, lifting up people in our great state. I mentioned the numbers already. We're all too familiar with these numbers. Roughly 42,500 to be exact, in 2022, killed on our roadways in traffic crashes across the country. One of the worst years on record by far was the first full year of the pandemic, 2021, where we saw more than 43,000 people killed on our roadways across the country. GHSA recently released some good news on this, in the last few weeks, and NHTSA. For 2024, there's actually a 4.4% decline in fatalities across the country for 2024, the first 9 months of 2024. So a little bit of good news in reduction in fatalities, overall fatalities for the country. But we can't rest on our laurels. There's a lot of work to be done. And part of the reason why we can't is because even some of the most vulnerable users of our system continue to see increases in fatalities. More than 7,265 to be exact, in 2021. Again, one of the worst years on record for pedestrian fatalities. I believe this was a 15-year high in fatalities for pedestrians in our country. Just think about that for a second. More than 7,000 people on our pedestrians killed on our roadways in 2021. We're seeing some good news again on this front. According to NHTSA and GHSA, some of the latest numbers. A lot of states seeing reductions. What does this look like in California? We, as Director Doherty mentioned, 12 people every single day, 12 people a day in California die on our transportation system. 12. Overall numbers, 4,428 in 2022. Some of the numbers, again, that we're seeing from NHTSA are showing a decline here for us. We're one of 35 states in the whole country that are seeing declines in our overall fatality numbers based on the first 9 months of 2024. But I mentioned the fact that some people are seeing success, even more dramatic success than we've seen recently. By the way, the number 4,428, that roughly 12 people a day, I mentioned that we're seeing some success here. The success that we're seeing is still nowhere near the prior numbers that we had before. I mean, if you can look back to just a mere 10 years prior, see where we were, how good we were doing, and all the way up here today, within a span of 10 years. Look at this dramatic increase that we've seen. So even though we're seeing declines of like 10 to 12, I think we saw in California a 12.9% decrease in the first 9 months of 2024. That's still nowhere near, again, these kinds of numbers where we were in the 2000s for the entire state of California. So where is this getting done and they're seeing success? The EU is one of the places that we know what they're doing is working. These dramatic drops that you see on the screen have happened just over the span of 20 years, where they were in the 50,000s of fatalities across the entire EU just in the early 2000s. 50,000 number, and you can see some of the dramatic drops that they've seen over the span of just a couple of decades, just 2 decades. We can do the same in America. We can have these same results. Finland is one place that I've had a chance to visit where this example of success is being seen, where they've had no fatalities, 0 fatalities in Norway. In some of the Nordic countries, they've completely eliminated fatalities already on their roadways. We can look at their examples and do some of the same things here in the United States. Solutions. How do we get there? I think my counterparts, my colleagues, the commissioner and Stephanie talked about some of these things already. But we have to continue to understand where the numbers are the highest. This particular graphic comes from the Federal Highway Administration, FHWA, where they share the different crash types. As far as the percentages in 2021, the percentages of crash types and what's leading to them, and ultimately the proven countermeasures that can help solve these crashes. So for example, roadway departures accounted for nearly 50% of all fatalities in 2021. What can be done about roadway departures? Median barriers, rumble strips. You see the effectiveness rate actually next to those numbers as well. Another example, Commissioner touched on this, speeding, always a major factor in crashes. It was 29% of all the crashes in 2021. What can be done? Speed safety cameras, variable speed limit signs, things like this have been shown to be effective. And, of course, enforcement, in addition to the things that you see on the screen here. Hoboken, New Jersey. Anybody from New Jersey here? Oh, look at that. Yeah, we got New Jersey in the house. Hoboken, New Jersey. Love sharing this example. Hoboken is less than 60,000 people, only roughly 2 square miles, not a big city. They are now into their 8th year of 0 fatalities. 0, none. Small town, 60,000 people, but what do? There are some people here from New Jersey, they can share the details with you more later. But they've focused on things like complete streets. People are using transit more and more. They've slowed speeds down. There's also the enforcement that's needed in Hoboken. So a great example of helping to get to 0. In 8 years, no fatalities. Quick story. October 17th, 2023, one late evening, on the late evening of that day, 4 young students were standing on Highway 1, the Pacific Coast Highway, not too far from where we are here in Long Beach. The driver of a BMW, according to law enforcement reports, was going 104 miles an hour. 104 miles an hour. Hit 3 parked cars. The parked cars hit 4 young girls who were standing on the side of the highway, on Highway 1. Those 4 young ladies were scheduled to graduate in roughly 8 months. This was October 17, 2023. In May of 2024, they were scheduled to graduate. All 4 young ladies killed, family, friends devastated forever. 104 miles an hour. Why was there a need to be going that fast on that roadway? No need. Young man that was driving the vehicle released, I don't know what the legal side of the case is today, but released with only a few bruises and scratches. We, the state team, said we're not going to sit by and let the city of Malibu and the community of Pepperdine face this challenge by themselves. As you can see on one of the images here, that's Director Doherty standing in the background, and that's me, Commissioner. Several of us came down within weeks to say, what can we do to help the community? We ran towards this challenge on Pacific Coast Highway that has seen a lot of fatalities, significant amount, over the last decade. Pulled together the Sheriff's Office, City of Malibu, City of Santa Monica, the Supervisor of the county, Supervisor Horvat, State Assembly, even the governor engaged in this. And on the right side of the screen, some of the things that we immediately got put in place, including 3 full-time new CHP officers. You can see from January to June of the very next year after this crash happened, more than 4,800 citations were issued. We did things like striping and warning signs and flashing beacons, on, to address this challenge. Whenever this is happening in your community, you run towards the challenge. Hands-on. California's a large state, 40 million people. You heard the governor mention over 300,000 roads. But this is a priority. We ran towards this to try to solve the issue here. And as you can see at the very bottom there, we're going to launch some new programs this year called State Safety Priority Corridors. More details about that, you will probably see it later. Just a couple of more things and then I'll run. Director Doherty, her office, they're doing a lot of great work as it relates to education, safety education, and enforcement within the state. Record-breaking numbers in funding that they've received to do their work. $150 million in education funding and enforcement support. More than 497 grants, more than 522 applications received in their office. By the way, her office in your state, if you're not from California, is something like the governor's highway safety office. That would be the equivalent of her office. So those are the numbers for us, 150 million. This responsibility that I have is extremely rewarding when I think about the safety focus that we have and the outcomes that we're seeing in our state. The safety focus is broad. It's extremely broad. And these are just some examples. I don't have the time to go into detail on these. Some of the examples of some of the things that we have been doing. The Wallace-Annenberg Wildlife Crossing is going to be the largest wildlife crossing in the world. A $100 million investment to go over the 101 highway just about 40 miles west of here. Mountain lions, bobcats, black bears that cross that highway and sometimes can cause safety concerns and safety issues are now going to be protected with a wildlife crossing. Very thankful to the Wallace-Annenberg Wildlife Foundation for the work they're doing. The Check to Protect program is also something the OTS and New Motor Vehicle Board are doing. They launched a new website to help people across California know if there's a recall of any part of their vehicle. Any part of their vehicle, there's a website, checktoprotect.org, where people in California can go. There are things like the Takata airbags that have been recalled for years that people don't even know about, that they can go to this website and find out more about. And there are even things like pilot fatigue mitigation regulations that our office, my office, is engaged in addressing as well. So I will run with this. We're going to need an all-of-partnership approach to get there by 2050. This Vision Zero goal that we have, an all-of-partnership approach. Remember that individually, we're but one drop. Individually, we're but one drop. But together, all of us in this room, all the sectors, whether it be health, law enforcement, planners, engineers, together, we're an ocean. We can get this done. Good morning.